Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
This is the Sports Trap Podcast. My name is John Trapp. And of course, my man, Christopher C-Rod. Mr. Khoa is on the ones and twos. How you doing, sirs? Ladies and gentlemen. How you doing?
What up?
What it do?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. H-Town, we got a special one for you. We know this COVID-19, this AKA coronavirus, got us all down. The AKA Chinese virus, the AKA Bill O'Brien, B.O.B. virus got us down. But you know what, H-Town, we're going to lift you people back up because that's what we do. What are we? Kobe Bryant, what are we? We are the People's Podcast.
Oh,
yes,
that's right. People's Podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wow. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we have the top 10 Houston Rockets of all time. All time. Yes, sir. One more time. The top 10 Houston Rockets of all time. So, without further ado, Mr. Christopher C. Rodriguez, honorary podcast #1 Rocket fan. Lead the way, sir.
All right. So, yes, like John said, this is the top 10 Houston Rockets to ever don and play in the Houston Rockets uniform. Before we get started, I want to say this is brought to you by Pure Wipes. Tough on messes, gentle on hands, and COVID-19's fucking worst enemy. Boom. All right. Hey. Before we get started, we'd like to give a couple of honorable mentions for players that unfortunately didn't make our top 10 list, but are going to be mentioned. We have Ralph Sampson, Charles Barkley, Mario Elie, Robert Horry, Vernon Maxwell, Sam Cassell, and of course, last but certainly not least, least until he plays again, Russell Westbrook. So, with that being said, number 10, coming in at number 10, our boy, Kenny the Jet Smith. That's right, Kenny Smith, number 10. Now, Kenny Smith was truly an underappreciated player, deceptively good athlete. Of course, he came from North Carolina. Most impressive career highlight was when he hit 7 3-pointers in a single game in the NBA Finals, which at the time was a record. Of course, I'm sure that's been broken by now by somebody we love to hate on, the Golden State Warriors. He also holds the longest 3-point shooting streak in the Rockets' history when he made over 10 consecutive 3-points during the 1990-91 season. Of course, that's probably changed as well. But his highest scoring season as a Rocket, he averaged 17 points per game, 7 assists. But most importantly, he's remembered for hitting some of the biggest clutch shots in the Rockets' championship seasons. Definitely, truly a general on the floor. Really helped get players in a position. And not only that, but he still shows his love and support on NBA TNT. Even when Charles Barkley and Shaq is hated, he's always there for us. Boom, number 10, Kenny Smith.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honorary and prestige. I'm going to be able to take this next one with number 9, one of my favorite Rockets of all time, who I think maybe should be a little higher on this list, but we'll get into that. Mr. TRACY McGrady, two times leading the league in scoring. Man, we all know what he did in the playoffs. Averages almost 26 points a game. Took us to new heights with Yao Ming and TRACY McGrady's show. Let me see. Can you people remember 13 and 33 seconds? Can you remember that? Greatest comeback of all time? Greatest comeback of all time in one single solitary game? I gotta say that's it. And also, man, who can forget maybe the second greatest winning streak of all time. 22 games in a row. Yes, sir. And that was almost entirely without Yao Ming. Might I add, just to let y'all know how good a Rocket he really was. Don't sleep on this man. Even though he looks like he could sleep anywhere, do not sleep on this man. Number 9, Houston Rocket of all time, TRACY McGrady. You're welcome.
Ooh, that's a good one. But I like my number 8. So I'll give it to you right now. Number 8, probably known more for his coaching career, which he actually did 12 years with the Rockets. But he also played 11 years with the Rockets, none other than Mr. Rudy TOMJANOVICH.
Hall of Fame.
The Punch himself. He was drafted second overall. Drafted second overall in 1970 when it was actually still the San Diego Rockets.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we
Second overall.
moved to Houston, I think the next year, 71, played 11 years. He actually, as far as franchise goes, he still ranks 4th in total points, 4th in total rebounds, and 3rd in field goals made. So
As a Houston Rocket?
As in the Rockets franchise, yeah.
Wow.
He averaged
sleeping on his NBA prowess.
So yeah, for his career, he averaged 17.4 points, 8.1 rebounds per game. So, I mean, he was definitely a solid player. So, but I think, you know, of course, fast forward to him coaching, giving us 2 championships, the only championships, mind you, with the Houston Rockets. So, you know, who can't love Rudy T, man? I think he deserves to be on the list for sure. Boom.
All right,
Christopher
guys.
C. Rodriguez.
Man, number 7. Listen, the only way I'm going to introduce this man at number 7, if I can sing his song, his theme song. Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao Ming. Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao Ming.
That's so appropriate.
I think that's like all the only words it came with. But listen, considered probably one of the most disappointing stories in NBA history, you know, especially with his physical breakdown. I mean, this man was 7'6". Yao had hook shots and jumpers that were virtually unblockable. Ask your boy Shaq, especially Fat Shaq. And when he was healthy, he essentially commanded double teams. In his career with the Houston Rockets, he averaged over 19 points, 9 boards, and 2 motherfucking blocks. Before eventually he had to call it quits due to numerous foot elements. Yao Ming, definitely a gentle giant, definitely somebody who adopted the city, and honestly, he just brought a spark and like an uplifting, positive vibe to the Houston Rockets. You couldn't help from loving the guy, man. And it's just really sad that he wasn't able to play out his career because, unfortunately, he had to play for China as soon as he left playing for the Rockets. So he's playing basically basketball, like, you know, 365 days out of the year. So Yao Ming, number 7, y'all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, number 6. And I think a lot of people sleep on how good this guy really is. I think that when we look at the next player on this list, we're selling him a little short. And I'm not even talking about his height. And I'm going to be honest with you people. I bet y'all didn't even know this. Sitting at 5'9", the shortest player in the Hall of Fame ever is Calvin Murphy. Hey, man, I'm 5'9", and I'm 5'10" on a good day. And I'm telling you, if I would have been alive back then, I was actually born in 1981, and his last game was in 1982 or 3, if I'm not mistaken. And if I would have been born, he would have probably been my Allen Iverson. But be it as it may, one of the greatest free throw shooters of all time, actually led the Houston Rockets to the championship. Unfortunately, they did lose to the Boston Celtics. He was actually one of the original Rockets with San Diego. And also, man, this boy could fight, and he would fight anybody. We all get lost in the sauce when we talk about the malice in the palace. But bro, they used to fisticuffs back in the day. And I mean, I'm not talking about just the players on the players. I'm not talking about, you know, Dr. J and Larry Brown. I'm talking about Calvin Murphy getting into the stands. Y'all don't know about that, do you? You don't remember? You don't remember? Baron Maxwell, a.k.a. honorable mention, got up into the stands. What all hell broke loose, you know? Said, hey, malice in the palace wasn't nothing for Calvin Murphy. So, yeah, man, Calvin Murphy, hey, listen, I'm not trying to say nothing about the man. And obviously he's a good guy. He ended up going to broadcast with the Houston Rockets. That's another plus. That's one. Not to say I had him lower, But damn, that didn't solidify number 6 for me. That's what it was. Ladies and gentlemen, number 6, Calvin Murphy.
All right. That brings us to number 5. I got a classic on it. Another from the San Diego Rockets era. None other than Mr. ELVIN-HAYES.
Nice.
He actually was the first overall pick in 1968. And in his rookie year, averaged 28.4 points per game and 17.1 rebounds. That's insane.
I'm telling you, man, that stuff don't happen no more, man.
Yeah, and he actually pretty much held that through for the rest of his years in Houston, as far as I think he was there for, I want to say 4 years to start off with. Then he left and actually came back and finished his career as a Rocket with another 4 years as well. But, yeah, I mean, he was an absolute beast, and he currently ranks 4th in history in total rebounds behind only Wilt, Bill Russell, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Wow.
Nice.
So I think he's definitely earned his place in this top 10. Yeah.
All right, guys. Coming in from my Spanish-speaking people at Cuatro, you know him as CLYDE, the motherfucking Clyde Drexler, who isn't just an all-time Rockets legend, but he is an NBA all-time motherfucking legend. CLYDE, in many ways, was the evolution of super versatile forwards like Oscar Robinson. Swift, well-rounded, big guys who can handle the ball like your smaller shooting point guards. He holds, like, I think the single game record for 10 steals in a game. And while he was with the Houston Rockets, he averaged 22 points, 5 assists, 6 boards, and 2 steals during his championship winning season. But before the Rockets, he was already a Houstonian by heart. Yeah, as a 6'7", CLYDE with his gracefulness became a great combo duo with HAKEEM OLAJUWON. Y'all know him as the 5 Slammer Jammer. They almost won a championship with the Houston Cougars. Unfortunately, they ended up losing in the finals. But either way it goes, CLYDE Drexler, the man, probably one of the only players I always thought that, gave Michael Jordan a run for his money too when he was holding him.
What? What?
Yes, absolutely. So CLYDE Drexler, shout out, number Quattro, number 4, boom.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming in at number 3, I got a 12-time All-Star. I got a 3-time MVP. I got one of the greatest centers, power forwards of all time, people. I'm not talking about the Rockets. I'm talking about of all time. Yes, I just said it. 3-time MVPs. Name me somebody else that's 3-time MVP besides LeBron James. All right, go. Okay, all right. So this guy got the retired jersey for 2 teams. Not only Philly, but the Houston Rockets, number 24. That is Mr. the Great Moses, 10 Commandments Malone. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. What he did for the Houston Rockets was impressive in itself. Not only that, I think he's an ambassador of the game itself. One of the greatest rebounders, one of the greatest defensive players. I think that he ushered in what could have been after Moses Malone, of course, we got Ralph Sampson and one of the greatest of all time as well. He ushered them into another to the next generation, and unfortunately, he did not win the championship with the Houston Rockets, but he is a champion. That's important in itself to be said. So, number 3, one of the greatest players of all time, Mr. Moses Malone.
Boom.
I'm pretty sure he's top 50 of all time too, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I don't doubt it. All right.
Yep.
Ooh,
Top
number
50.
2.
Getting into numero dos. This is where it can definitely get heated, and you can, probably switch some of these places around. But we have at number 2, none other than himself, the Beard. I wish I had a beard to stroke to show.
Man. Are we really gonna put? Wow.
Hey. So,
wow.
Mr. James Harden, none other than the franchise player himself, number 13 currently right now of the Houston Rockets. And 2018 NBA MVP, as we all know, 8-time NBA All-Star, 5-time All-NBA First Team. He was a Sixth Man of the Year back in OKC, 2-time scoring champ. He was the assist leader back in 2017, Olympic gold medal and World Cup gold medal as well. And as far as on the Rockets, I mean, I think he ranks, third in team history in 3 points made, second in 3 free throws made, of course. And he actually has the third most steals in team history and second in total assists in team history as well. So, I mean, there's a ton of things we could say about Harden. You know, he is and has been the franchise player since he's been on this team. He has not scored an average, less than an average of 25 points for an entire season since he's been a Houston Rocket. He's just, you know, one of the most prolific, dominant scorers in the NBA today, and has single-handedly changed the game, I believe, you know, with how he plays alongside someone like Steph Curry. I could say someone like Steph Curry and James Harden, I'd say completely changed the game to what it is today. And that's why he's number 2.
I'm gonna just put it out. I'm gonna just put it out there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ashamed to say that I was on a panel that decided he was number 2, but we'll get into that a little later. As of right now, Chris, that's my piece, man. You take it away from here, man.
Hey, first of all, John's a little upset because Tracy McGrady is now 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But we'll get into that a little bit later in a few minutes.
That is true. That is true.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time for the number 1 player to ever don and wear a Houston Rockets uniform. But before I get into that, hold on a second.
Oh.
Yeah,
that was a classic moment.
Well, you don't understand, but when I get into HAKEEM OLAJUWON, who's number 1, I get super, super excited because he's not only our number 1 player to ever wear the Rockets uniform. I would go on record to say he's the number 1 Houston player ever for the city of Houston. Not only does he put the dream in Dream Team, HAKEEM OLAJUWON invokes like classic basketball moments. His crushing blocks, his technicality, his scoring maneuvers, the dream shake, graceful agility. I mean, everything you see now with athletes today, like your Dirk Nowinski's, your Kevin Durant's, who are over 6'10", 6'11". That was HAKEEM OLAJUWON. He started this. Not only that, but he is the Houston Rockets all-time scoring champ with 26,511 points, all-time leader in blocks ever in the NBA, as well as the Rockets with 3,740, and he is the franchise leader in rebounds with 13,381, not to mention MVP, and he brought in two back-to-back NBA championships where he did the boy Patrick Ewing up, and of course, Skinny Shaq. Boom, number 1.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. That dream shake, man. I remember I used that. I remember I was one of the tallest in middle school. Once I got out of high school, out of middle school, I was one of the shortest. So I had to learn what HAKEEM OLAJUWON did with the up and unders, with the dream shakes. And do you guys remember? Everybody said that dream shake was a travel back in the day. Absolutely demolished people with that dream shake. That was such a beautiful move. Something that I put into my repertoire in my hoop game. Yes, sir. Of course, like you mentioned, sweep of Shaquille O'Neal. Mind you, when Shaquille O'Neal was the man, a beast, coming up right before he went to LA. And also, man, one of the greatest players of all time, going head-to-head with David Robinson, one of the greatest series of all time, as far as when David Robinson was the MVP, and took him on and finished him off in 6 games after they were down, if you remember. They were down 0-2, came back, boom. That was the series where they gave David Robinson the MVP before Game 3, and we came up and swept them the rest of the way. 4 games in a row. Yes, sir, sitting back, and we going on to play the New York Knicks and one of the greatest of all times as well, Patrick Ewing. Guess what? Game 7. I can't believe y'all didn't mention my man in the honorable mention, the kiss of death, Mr. Mario Ellie, put the nail in the coffin. And if you guys remember in Game 7 with the New York Knicks, who got the block on, who I believe it was John Starks. John Starks threw up a 3-pointer as a Hail Mary prayer, and Hakeem Olajuwon got that little block, man. Little known, I guess, solidified the championship in 7 games versus the New York Knicks. The one and only Hakeem Olajuwon, the greatest center of all time. Me and Chris have gone back and forth and tried to tell people the greatest center of all time, not the greatest Rocket, not only
Absolutely.
the greatest Houston Rocket,
Greatest
center of all time. And if you would ask Michael Jordan who he wanted to play with, of somebody that he never got a chance to play with, it would be Hakeem Olajuwon. Ladies and gentlemen, top 10, number 1, Hakeem Olajuwon. Yes, sir. Khoa. What's up, Chris?
No, I was gonna also say too, man. I mean, Hakeem Olajuwon is the number 1 as far as assists ever as a center. People fail to realize what a crisp passer he was. To be able to lead in his position as a center and with both assists, points, blocks, rebounds, steals. I mean, he was in the top 20 all time of steals. I mean, Hakeem Olajuwon was not only, in my opinion, the greatest player, but when you look at players like LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, who actually came up to Hakeem Olajuwon after retiring and said, "Hey, can you teach me just the way your gracefulness as far as how you maneuver your feet?" That tells you everything. They're not going to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They're not going to Fat Shaq. They're going to Hakeem Olajuwon. That's all I got to say about that. You want to eat tacos? You go to Fat Shaq. He'll show you how to eat tacos.
I got a couple of bones to pick though, Chris. First of all, you left out Charles Barkley, man. How you gonna leave out Charles Barkley? You really believe that Charles Barkley's not a better player than Kenny Smith? Better Houston Rocket? Come on now.
I think the only thing Charles Barkley is better at Kenny Smith is commentary. I think that's the only thing he's good at because he's really funny. But I mean, listen, that's why I had honorable mentions. I love Charles Barkley when he came to the Rockets, especially since he hated on us for so long because we kept beating their asses over there in the Phoenix to win our 2 championships. But he ended up, you can't beat him. You join him. He joined us. He came with CLYDE DREXLER, Hakeem Olajuwon, and of course, if it wasn't for John Stockton's bitch ass hitting that 3-pointer at the end of the game, that team probably went to the championship and played the Bulls, which probably would have been a lot more exciting championship.
You convinced me on Charles Barkley, but you're not going to convince me on the next one, bro. Scottie Pippen deserves to be somewhere on that
Ooh.
list.
Fuck Scottie Pippen and the high horse he came in on, man. If you know anything, he came to this team just completely narcissistic, feeling himself too much. He only had one season where he was the top scorer, which is when Michael Jordan retired. Other than that, man, Scottie Pippen will always be Robin. As much as he wanted to be Batman, he will always be Robin. Boom.
Ooh. All right. So just a question out here, just an honorable mention question. Big Shot Bob, better Rocket or better Laker?
Ooh. It's a good one.
Robert Ory. Big Shot Bob.
That's tough.
Ooh, you guys really want to say Robert Ory? Actually, Robert Ory is. I don't want to say he was a better player, but he was better at his job for the Lakers than he was at his job for the Rockets. But we put so much more on him as a power forward with the Houston Rockets. Remember, he was basically coming off the bench if he was like a pseudo starter for the Lakers, but for the Rockets, he was starting every game, and you guys remember that boy had hops. He was our Sean Kemp at the time. When he came busted on the scene coming out of Alabama. So
glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, man, he was massive hops, massive dunks. So he was always an exciting player to watch for that one moment of just air up there type hops, man. Yeah, no, I think that he was a better Laker just because of the fact he contributed to 3 championships. So no, actually 5. He got 5. I'm completely forgetting that he was with the Spurs.
Yes, exactly.
He has 7 all time.
He has 7.
No.
He has 7. Yes.
7?
Yeah. He has 2 with the Rockets,
Yeah.
3 with the Lakers, and 2 with the Spurs.
Ooh, wow.
Son of a bitch.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
As a sixth man, who's had a better career?
No one.
Me.
Yeah.
All-time 6
No,
man.
Chris, you're the third man.
God damn it. Hey, also too with Robert Horry. He was our best looking player because he looked like Will Smith. At the time, I know everyone comparing him to Will Smith, and that's when Will Smith in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was huge. I remember the second championship, they kept posting him next to Will Smith when they'd break down, his play. So
That's
I'm
funny.
just saying, man.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, but you're right. I remember that. Damn, man. But had a career.
And his
Who else
daughter
did we leave off?
I was gonna say his daughter also married Calvin Murphy's. He also married Calvin Murphy's daughter, by the way.
Oh,
too.
wow. Hey,
Yeah,
man. Kept it in the family, huh? Rockets, what's up, baby?
What?
The original Red Rowdy. So who else do we leave off? We talked about Vernon Maxwell.
Hey, man, he goes down as definitely one of my favorite players of all time, man. And no one held Michael Jordan the way Vernon Maxwell. If you go back and you watch the games, and people don't know this, but the Bulls, all 6 years where they won those championships, they had losing records against the Rockets. They struggled against the Rockets. And most importantly, Michael Jordan did not like to play against Vernon Maxwell because he was like Patrick Beverly, but a little bit more athletic than Patrick Beverly. But he was all up in that ass, boy.
I think I read one stat that said the only team that Michael Jordan didn't have a winning record against was the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, damn right it was.
That's crazy. Khoa, do we leave out anybody, sir?
Let's see. I mean, I think it sounds pretty good, man. I like the top 10. As far as, we could go on honorable mentions, I think, for days.
How much time we got, Khoa? Because I'm about to go on this whole Harden at number 2. Me and all of us during the meetings, we had this, man. I was not part of that. I tried to veto that shit so hard. Listen, Harden's a great player. Yes, he did change some aspects of the game. But everybody that we mentioned too, like Chris said, Hakeem Olajuwon, greatest center. Moses Malone was probably considered one of the greatest centers before that. Clyde Drexler changed the position as far as like small shooting guards and small forwards were playing. I mean, hey man, I'm not saying that James Harden is any less of a player than them, but as what they've earned so far, James Harden's not there yet, man. Not at number 2. Come on, man.
Chris?
Man, let me tell you something, John. John's butthurt right now because he knows Tracy McGrady could never even hold the balls of James Harden. That's why he's upset. He's hating on James Harden.
Tracy McGrady was James Harden before James Harden got here. The
No,
only reason
that's
that James
not even
Harden's
true.
even on a team is because Tracy McGrady led his way. So before he even suits up, puts shoelaces on his shoes and ties them to step on the court, he needs to recognize that Tracy McGrady led the way.
Tracy McGrady is also known for a lot of Houstonians that who watch those Rockets games as T-Wack. He was a diva. He always never came to the next season in shape. He had issues with being coached. I'm just saying, Tracy McGrady is T-Wack. But let me get back into James Harden. Why James Harden is number 2? Because he, to me, when you watch him play, has the same abilities that Hakeem Olajuwon had. And that is not only changing the game, but actually giving you a realistic chance of winning a championship. Yes, James Harden has not won a championship, but we watch James Harden come as a 6th man and turn into this in his prime as one of the best players, if not top 3, top 5 players in NBA. And we still have seen James Harden continuously evolve. And every year he changes his game up. And every year he continues to get better and better and better. It reminds me so much of Hakeem Olajuwon when he first entered the league. All I'm saying is this, that we haven't had an exciting player and the caliber of Hakeem Olajuwon for the Houston Rockets since James Harden. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Wow. Khoa,
You're the only person that likes Tracy McGrady. Everybody hates on him for a reason.
Okay, but you're the one that keeps on mentioning him. I was just going.
Hey, Tracy McGrady.
But no, listen, Khoa. You're not gonna say nothing about how he just said that he's the best player since OLAJUWON?
Wait, did you say best player? Like best Rocket or best player?
Yeah.
Best Rocket since HAKEEM Olajuwon played for the Rockets.
Come on.
I'm just saying, man.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, he's
We
higher
got
on the list, is he
champions.
not?
We got champions on the list, and y'all. Okay. All right. I guess I'm outvoted. I guess I'm wrong. I'm gonna take this, but I'm gonna just say this. I'm just gonna say this. Adidas signed the first lifetime contract with Tracy McGrady. Guess who's on Adidas right now? Who puts on his shoes from the left to the right, ties up them shoelaces every night on the court in Adidas, Chris?
James
Thank
Harden.
you. James Harden. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm
okay.
done. I'm done with this conversation, man.
What is that?
That has nothing to do with anything. All I know is that if there's ever been a year, like a lifetime contract that they wish they can avoid, it is Tracy McGrady. Great. That's all I'm going to say about that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you liked our list. Yes, sir. Top 10 Houston Rockets of all time, put together by Mr. Christopher C. Rodriguez, Quadratic, Mr. Khoa on the ones and twos. Thank you so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the show. We put this together for you people, for the people, for H-Town, for Texas. We holding it down, representing in this COVID-19 special edition top 10 for you. Give you something to think about and get back to us, man. Hit a like, subscribe, comment. Let me know your top 10. Let me know what you think about who should be number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Shoot. If you think Tracy McGrady should be number 2, let me know. Hit me up. Hey, man, hit it down there. Put that comment down there. Let me know how much you dislike Christopher C. Rodriguez is number 2 in this list. Oh yeah, don't forget. Let Khoa know too, man. Let Khoa know. He ain't shit. Nah, I'm just playing. Fellas, man. So much. This show has been actually one of the most funnest shows I've been a part of, man. We this was fun all around, man. Putting together our list and this was a blast, man. Gave me something to keep my mind off of things with everything going down, man. I hope it did the same thing for you guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been our show. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This is the Sports Trapp Podcast. My name is John Trapp. Christopher C. Rodriguez, C. Rod Rodriguez, my bad, and Khoa. Thank you, sir. I'm out.
Peace.
Yeah.